Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show Weekly podcast with me, Sam. By the way, back again for another episode of the pod as we're looking at all things PWR semi-finals ahead of a big weekend in the league. Going to be touching with each of the camps within the semi-final, so Saracens, Harlequins, Gloucester-Hartpury, and Bristol Bears. Also, at the end of the episode, we're having a little look into Scotland's Six Nations camp when we're talking to Evie Wills and Anne Young. Let's get into this episode. Starting our look at the semi-finals with a game on Saturday, Saracens against Harlequins women. So here we'll be hearing from Alex Osterbury and Zoe Harrison of Saracens women. But first up, Ross Chisholm and Jay Conkle of Harlequins.
Hi, Jade. Hope you're well. Just kind of one really for me is kind of how important are the people like yourselves, leadership in these kind of weeks, the big semi-final weeks, kind of guide the likes of potentially Sarah Parry, Claudia Penny, people who haven't been in this position before.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And again, we've been having lots of leadership meetings. The captains group had a meeting with our sports psychologist on Tuesday, just to try to look at those finer moments as well on how we can make decisions under pressure, how we communicate together, and how we also communicate to the team as well. Because on Saturday, there's going to be a lot of high pressure moments, and there's going to be some, difficult decision making from my end as well, and making that final decision. So I think it's huge, especially with these younger players as well. They're really like they've got so much flair and they want to play and they want to, be really exciting. But I definitely think, Saturday is going to be a game that we all need to be on the same page with as well. And sometimes that is going to be, a decision for posts or a decision for corner and, stuff like that. But that's just going to come down to making sure that we're all communicating constantly in a calm manner on the pitch in those high pressured moments and making sure that those players also still have the ability and confidence to still do what they do, because that is ultimately a huge part of how we've made it to the semis. So still bringing out the best in them, but being a lot more probably constructive is the word.
Ross, just one quick one from me. You kind of touched on the players' excitement, kind of managing those levels, but kind of where are your excitement levels at the moment heading into Saturday?
Oh, so excited. It's amazing to be part of. As I said, like from my playing experience, I was lucky to be involved in, I think, four or five finals. And it's where you want to be. It's why massive part of like why I played the game and wanted to get into coaching is for these moments. You work so hard. You want to go and right, let's go and really enjoy where we've put ourselves. And I'm really looking forward to the weekend, and I think the players are as well. And it's, as I said, like, well, this is the big part of why I do it anyway, is that sort of, you want to try and win trophies and you want to be involved in these big matches. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
See, big week, semi-final week, just kind of how excited are you to get into Saturday?
Yeah, massively. It's been a long but short season, and to see the dividends and the hard work of the girls playing off, and to get a home semi-final, it's very exciting to see what they can go out and do.
Kind of how much can you take from the two games between Quins and Saracens so far? So obviously they won at the Stone X, you won at the Stoop, kind of 1-1. So how much can you take from them? Kind of
it's 2-1. It's 2-1 currently. We played in the power up as well.
Power up, yeah.
Ultimately, you can read as little or as much into those games as you want. It's semi-final knockout rugby. It's there on the day who performs best and who can get the result. So obviously, there's some things that we've seen, there's some things that we did quite well that we can take into the game. But equally, there are knockout teams are a different beast. So yeah, you can't read too much into the past because it won't really dictate a great deal come the weekend. But certainly, it stands us in good stead if we can do the things well that we did against them previously.
Yeah, you said about things in the past kind of not potentially coming into this weekend in terms of momentum. Obviously, you're coming in off the win against Sale. They're coming in off a loss. Is it kind of again momentum not massively important in semi-final rugby?
I've got momentum, so absolutely, it's massive, it's huge. But realistically, it's the momentum is in the game itself, isn't it? How well you start, can you keep it when you're under the pump? Can you ride it out without conceding the points? So yeah, we're in a good place. We built a lot of confidence. We've started playing, more towards our standards and the expectations that we have of ourselves. So we're going into good form and in a good place, and hopefully we continue that. And ultimately, like Quincy's psychology and their approach to it is not really my concern. That's for them to sort. Us is about being confident, happy, and in a position to go put performance in.
And just last one for me, kind of how important is a home crowd and a home semi-final in kind of finals football and kind of driving your team over the line?
Oh, massive. There's nothing better than playing in front of your home crowd. Stow next to the atmosphere. You run out and, well, not so much me run out. I'll walk up the steps, but you get hit by the wall of noise as you come out. And it's been incredibly influential for us historically, not just in knockout rugby, but throughout seasons. So, yeah, I remember a semi-final against Loughborough many moons ago where we defended for 30 odd phases. And, it felt like we're defending with another 2,000 people, the noise that we're making. So, yeah, if we can capture the momentum, capture the energy, and they can fuel and feed us, then it'll be a great place, and hopefully we can take advantage of that.
So just one quick one from me. Alex kind of touched on the importance of this crowd at the Stoners and kind of getting behind the team. Just kind of how important is that for players on the pitch, kind of making sure you've got that home semi-final for that support behind you?
It's always great. The crowd's great, and like when you make a break and you hear them, and then they start going sorry. We do love that.
Moving on to the second semi-finals, Bristol Bears, who are going to be heading to Queen's Home on Sunday to face Gloucester-Hartpury. So here is Bristol Bears head coach Dave Ward, their co-captain Amber Reid, but first, Sean Lynn and Mo Hunt of Gloucester-Hartpury.
Mo, just first of all, just obviously semi-final week, just kind of how's the excitement level at the moment?
Yeah, really excited. Obviously, this season's been very condensed. Normally, you kind of have a big build into that semi-final after Six Nations, and there's like 2 or 3 games to get yourself going, but this one's just ran on into it. So, yeah, massive gear shift for us. We almost treated Quins like a quarter-final last weekend, which was a good mindset going in for us. And then, yeah, super excited, obviously, to be back at home. Queen's Home in front of a decent crowd, hopefully. It's going to be epic.
And it's kind of how special is rugby in Gloucester. I think I've spoken to this about this a few times, but obviously good crowd at the weekend, Queen's Home this week. It looks like it's going to be a great crowd again. Just kind of how special is it?
Yeah, we love it. Like I've said it every time you've asked, I think, but you can't go around town without seeing somebody in Gloucester Stash, wherever they are. And I think that for me is the most epic thing. Like we go into Nuffield using the pool and the sauna in there, and loads of people are caring about what we're doing. They're following what we're doing. Loads of people getting down to the games. And it's just such an amazing community. Like the rugby community here is fantastic. And then obviously we've got that rivalry building with Bristol Bears. Like semi-final last year, semi-final 2 years ago, final last year, and then obviously we're at it again this week. So I think it's awesome that it's such a local rival. It's one of the biggest ones in the game for us, and yeah, we're so excited for it.
And just looking at Bristol, I think Dave on his press call on Tuesday described you as Gloucester's version of Antoine Dupont. So kind of just full praise, just kind of any kind of basing your game off him.
Yeah, I think anyone would be stupid not to base a game off him. He's an unbelievable player. Obviously, what he does for the game is ridiculous. I think he just makes stuff happen, and what I respect most in his game is just the way that he just does what he wants to do, and everyone kind of reacts to that. So yeah, it's kind of not where I am at the minute, I'd say. There's a long way to go. I definitely play for others rather than play for myself. So we're a bit different mindset in terms of that, but love his skill set, and yeah, would do anything to have the same.
And just last one for me is kind of how important is carrying the momentum in from the last few weeks of the season, also that unbeaten run you've been on kind of into the semi-final. Obviously, you've had a chance to rotate some players, make sure players are coming into this with fresh legs. Kind of how important is that, and also the momentum bringing into it?
You know what, like momentum is good, obviously, like we want to take momentum in, but it's knockout rugby at the end of the day, so momentum counts for nothing. Like we've got one shot at it, one game on the weekend. We're coming to it Sunday 3 p.m, and whatever happens, like we're going to give our best showing, and that needs to be enough, because otherwise we miss out on that final slot, and we almost let ourselves down, I guess, when you finish top of the league and you don't get the chance to compete for that cup. I think yeah, we would have definitely let ourselves down in that, and we've got a lot to be playing for this weekend. Like Linny's over there in the background stretching. We all know how much it means to him, and we all want that for him as well, to be able to give ourselves that shot at the cup for the 3rd time running.
Eleni, hope you're well. Just you spoke about on Friday after the game about kind of having to rein in your excitement and the girls' excitement this week. Kind of where are the excitement levels at the moment?
Yeah, they're still reining in, mate. Yeah, really excited. Building on that momentum from Friday night, and then when you see the sign up of Queen's Home, all the excitement just keeps building and building. Tuesday night we had a real good session, very good clarity, detail, and hoping tonight then we'll will be the same, and then just looking to build into Sunday.
Kind of how much does Queen's Home and kind of all the signage and the crowd coming in mean to the team and also to the coaching staff as well, kind of the whole squad?
Mate, it means a hell of a lot to me, because after every game when we're at Queen's Home, I just make sure that the girls are aware that they are creating this. They've created it. If you think of where the game was when I first took it on, we went into COVID and we played at Hartpury and it was great crowds. And I think the women's game is in a real good space because they interact so much with the crowd and these youngsters, and they're an amazing, inspiring role models. The characters we've got in the game it's special. But to have an iconic stadium, King's Home, to be changed to Queen's Home, these girls are creating this, which is very special for me.
Just a couple of quick ones for me. First of all, how did you enjoy your commentary debut at the weekend? Well, not debut, PWR commentary debut.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. As in, like, I loved it. I thought I was not great, but then, I think we are our harshest critics. I think if I did I always say to the girls, if you had your time again, if I had my time again, I wouldn't speak so much. I wouldn't speak so quickly as I speak very quickly now. But I really enjoyed it. And I thought Claire was great, as in she led me through the process. And like, I enjoyed working with her. And it was good to see the game through a different lens, because usually I want one of those teams to win. I didn't necessarily want either team to win. And I tried to be like I said, as fair as possible. And at the end of the day, Gloucester ran away with it. But I think Queen's put up a pretty good fight for 40 minutes.
And just kind of how many good memories can you take from last year's away semi-final win kind of into this week? Kind of the memories, first and only team who've done that.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think, when you're the pioneer of something, you can really lean on that, and we know we've done it. We know we're capable of it. Going to do it again is going to be a much harder task, let's be honest, because, Saracens were in second, we were in third last season. This time it's fourth versus first. Everyone keeps reminding me how many times Gloucester have won in away. Obviously, Rich reminded me they've only lost 6 times in 25 years. Like, they've got the best team since sliced bread. So I think it's a much harder task, but it's one we're revved up for. And I think we're going to surprise a few people on Sunday. And as I said, and if we don't, I know that myself, the coaching group and the girls will certainly give it our best shot.
And this last one for me, obviously, the Scotland squad announced last week with Meg and specifically Holly Cunningham in it for the first time. Just kind of, how proud are you of those two kind of getting in that squad?
Yeah, I'm incredibly proud. I think it's amazing. It's terrible for my EQP, but amazing for those guys. I think, they both deserved it. Holly Cunningham has just gone from strength to strength. The sacrifice, and I say sacrifice, but I always like to use the word, the choice she's made this season to be part of the full-time program at Bears, to probably not earn as much money away from the club as she could have done, and all the little bits that no one sees. She's actually, got the end of it, and she's in camp for Six Nations, and she's got a massive, massive chance of being in that 23 as well, which I think is full credit to her. And like I said, it's hopefully testament to the program, but the work she's put in as well.
I am, but just a couple of quick ones for me. It's kind of, how much pride do you take in this team kind of fight back to finishing in the playoffs from where you were?
Yeah, it takes a pretty special group. It takes a lot of belief, which I think back in the early days of my career at Bristol, we probably didn't have. And it's having that belief, but not that arrogance about it, quiet confidence, knowing you can do a good job. But also, we've still got a lot of youngsters in this squad, and it's having to deal with that pressure as well. It's one thing, believing that you can do it internally, but you have to go out and perform by your actions. And I'm so proud of everyone in this squad, but it's not just the 23 that you see. That 23 can't perform if everyone else in your squad isn't preparing you as hard as they can for the matches. The level of training has to be up there. And I think that's probably one of the toughest roles to have in a rugby squad. The players that don't play week in, week out, still turning up and still putting in a hell of a shift, learning opposition detail so they can run that and prepare the team. So yeah, massively proud, but not just of the players that get the result. It's a massive team effort. I couldn't do it without them.
And it's kind of how important is it to kind of, like you mentioned, those younger players kind of making sure their focus this week, kind of reining the excitement a little bit, but also kind of keeping the energy up as well.
Yeah, and I think I kind of try and remind the younger players that as older players, we've been through a lot of experiences which really help in pressure situations. But sometimes, depending on how past experiences go, you can have a different perception of them. So it's like I've been in semi-finals and lost before, and obviously the final from last year. But actually harnessing the energy that someone has, like a younger player in the squad that probably hasn't had those experiences. So it's like not trying to use all your experience to dampen down their excitement, actually help them through the pressure situations, but let them bring a fresh take on what a semi-final might look like. So it's, harnessing that energy, helping them navigate the pressure to be the best they can be, but ultimately just go out and enjoy it. Because I've always said that if, like, for me personally, if I'm enjoying my rugby, that's me at my best on the rugby pitch. Just trying to remind them that all this other noise is going on, but just enjoy it and you'll get the best out of yourself.
And obviously the supporters bus is heading down to Kingsholm or Queen's Home on Sunday. Just kind of how exciting is that? It's kind of how much does that show the growth of women's rugby in Bristol?
Yeah, it's massive. And like one thing that we try to do, both the men's and the women's side as a club, is inspire the community. And like to have that, obviously the bus is a visual representation of what that looks like. The more people that come and watch to buy tickets, the more people willing to travel up the road to come and support us in a semi-final, like, is incredible. And definitely means a lot, especially as a homegrown girl, to see the impact that like this has had on all the local rugby clubs as well. The community foundation, how many girls sign up to half-term camps, is growing like every time they have one. So that's pretty special.
And we may have the PWR semi-finals, but the build-up to the Women's Six Nations is on. Scotland are in camp this week, and we heard from Anne Young and Evie Wills ahead of the tournament and also how their seasons have gone with their respective clubs.
Hi, Anne. Just first of all, hope you're well. How exciting has it been in Scotland squad heading into Six Nations time?
Yeah, really exciting. Nice to get back and see everybody. Nice to come back home for a bit, be in Scotland. I know it's a pretty exciting tournament, so I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, being at Loughborough this year, kind of your first year there. I think I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months back on one of those lightning press conferences. Just kind of have you found the season kind of great end to the year with those couple of wins as well?
Yeah, no, really good. I think like specifically Loughborough, like the second half of our season was really strong and we really built together as a group, and we were able to put out some really good performances. So I was really pleased with that.
Do you think how important is it kind of for the development of Scotland, where you see people like yourself, Leia, kind of growing in that Loughborough setup and also bringing that into Scotland camp come Six Nations time?
Yeah, I think it's really important, like playing well, playing lots of minutes, playing well at club, and then kind of bringing, and vice versa as well, bringing that experience in, but also at Scotland, bringing what you've learned there back into the PWR and back into your clubs, and just trying to hone your skills as much as you can. I think it's really important.
And this last one for me, kind of how odd has it been really kind of finishing a season before you go into Six Nations rather than you're halfway through a season, then having a Six Nation and going back into the PWR?
No, it has been really strange actually. Like everyone was saying, like the last game of the season last year, it was like 25 degrees and sunny. And, we were playing in like what still felt like the middle of winter. So obviously it's like very condensed because of like the World Cup and things like that. But actually it's quite nice in the sense that, you just can focus on this. Sometimes at the chop and change like is a bit more of a challenge, like you're swapping between systems and things like that, but actually just having a focus on Six Nations has been quite refreshing, so it's good.
Hi Evie.
Hi.
Just first of all, how excited to be back in the Six Nations camp and heading into this year's Six Nations?
Yeah, thank you. Did you say how was it?
Yeah, just how.
Oh, sorry, I missed that first word. It was super fun. Obviously, it's not my first exposure, but it's been so fun. You just slide back in, same kind of group of girls, obviously a few youngsters. But it's been really good. I've missed it so much. It's just good to be back.
Was there ever kind of a point with your injury, obviously being out for so long before this PWR season, was there ever a point where you didn't think you'd be back in this kind of position, this kind of camp?
I think with an injury that long, I was very good with myself that said you have to take it in little steps. So I never thought, gosh, I can't walk now, I wonder if I'll ever play for Scotland. I was very good at just kind of taking small wins every single week, because with a injury that long, there is little wins every single week. But I think there was a point where I was just about to get back playing for Tigers that I knew there was going to be eyes, because obviously PWR is one of the best leagues in the world. There's eyes everywhere. So there's a bit of pressure of, I'm performing for Tigers, absolutely, that's my job first and foremost. But I know there'll be eyes watching, so there's a wee bit of pressure. I think once I got into the actual season, I started to think, okay, I'm actually a better rugby player now than I was pre-ACL. So hopefully they see that. But then again, coming up to selection, I thought, there is nothing more I could have done. I've played so much rugby. If they don't like what they see, then that's that really. But it was little parts, but you can't never let that overwhelm me. Yeah.
And just one last question for me, really. Obviously, you played a lot this season alongside Meg Jones. Kind of, she's such a superstar over in England for the Red Roses. Kind of, how much have you learned from her, kind of playing alongside her every week?
I should hate that I said this, but she's phenomenal. And there's a reason she's one of the best outside centres in the world, and there's a reason she can switch from 7s to 15s so well. I learned so much from her. Playing inside her has been absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I don't want to blow her up too much, but it has been it's been very, very fun. And she can make something out of nothing, so it makes my job a little bit easier.